Building upper body strength is really challenging, and we're going to break it down. What movements to do, how to execute those movements, your reps and sets you should be doing, and how long you should be doing these movements. We're going to break that down. Coach Berek here, Equity Podcast, bringing you the tools to be fit for life. When we have members come in, one of the things that they want to be able to do is to do a pull-up. They want to be able to pick up heavy things. They want a bigger chest or bigger arms, bigger shoulders. They just want to be able to have the upper body strength to do the things that they want to do. And that is a process. Gaining strength takes time, and it can take a long time to build lasting, sustainable strength. And we're going to break down super specific how to do that today. So first thing we're going to break down is what movements to do. I'm going to give you 4 movements that are going to be the base of this program. First one is the bench press. That it's going to hit all that upper body, chest, triceps, shoulders, arms. It's going to hit all of that, and we're going to be pushing. The other pushing movement we're going to do is the dip, and this can be a bar dip or a ring dip. Either's fine. For the bench, we can modify that movement just by changing the load. Very easy way to change that. I'm going to be lifting something very different than a guy that's 260 pounds, right? We just modify that weight. For the dip, bar or ring is perfectly fine depending on what you have access to. Rings can be very cheap. You can hang them off of anything. A bar dip can be a little bit more of a process to figure out how to get that up. So you can use 2 boxes, can be another way to do that, or 2 elevated platforms. Also, doing a dip can be very challenging for people. It can be a hard movement to modify. So we can just do an assisted version of that. So doing a banded dip or using your feet to assist you a little bit. That can be a great way to help with doing a assisted version of that movement. So those are the 2 pushes. The 2 pulls are going to be a dumbbell row and a pull-up. Again, the dumbbell row is very similar to the bench. We just adjust that load as needed. For the pull-up, very similar to the dip, we're going to use some sort of assistant. We can use bands. We can use our feet again. And we have a weightlifting movement, right, where we are moving an external load. And then we have 2 gymnastic movements where we are moving our body. So these are 2 ways to build strength, absolute strength, relative strength, your body weight versus your weightlifting. 2 different ways to really work this. And it gives us a little bit of variety. All right, so those are our 4 movements. Next, we want to talk about how are we doing these movements, because how you do these movements matter. Generally, over these 4 movements, what we're looking for is to control that rep down. We want to control when the descent. So for the bench, we're going to press up and we're going to control the way down. We're going to hit a slight pause at the bottom of the rep as well. We don't want bouncing off the chest. Bouncing is going to make it easier, and that is the exact opposite of what we want. Our goal is to build strength, to build muscle. We want that muscle growth. We want that strength. And by bouncing it off your chest, one, that's not a great thing for your chest in the first place or your rib cage. Also, we're not going to get as much muscle recruitment. So we want to control that weight down, pause, and then press out. We should not be getting any assistance, from our body. Same thing with the dip. We want to press out, normal speed, control that descent down, slight pause in the bottom, drive out. We're looking for the controlled movement. We can start talking about elbows and width. We want, generally speaking, in all of our pressing movements, we want about a 45-degree angle relative to our torso. So we don't want the elbows flared out. We don't want the elbows sticking to the side. Elbows flared out, it's going to hit more of the shoulder. Elbows all the way in is going to hit more of the arms. We want to hit a little bit of everything, and that 45-degree angle is going to be super helpful for that in both the bench and the dip. All right, and obviously we want to physically touch our chest. We want to break parallel. We want to get that shoulder below the elbow in the dip as well. We want to get that full range of motion. We want to fully stretch that muscle and press out of it. For the pulling motions, same principle. Full range of motion. We want to control the descent, slight pause at the bottom. So for that row, we actually want to see that arm fully elongate. We want to let that shoulder drop just a little bit and then pull it up, physically touch that chest and control that way down. Slight pause. Even a slight pause at the top of that one would be really great as well. Right, where we have that muscle, it's flexed, it's contracted. That's going to give us a little bit more bang for our buck. We want to control those reps. We shouldn't be just bouncing them. With the pull-ups, the same thing. And this is where we're probably going to see, this is where I see the most, where people think they're making progress, but they're not. And that's when they're just flying through reps on a band. We don't do kipping pull-ups with a band. That's not going to help you get pull-ups. We want them as strict as possible. We want to control the descent on the way down. We want to fully get that back, those lats, those back muscles fully extended, and then pull all the way up, get that chin over the bar every time. We want a controlled movement. We need that control for the muscles actually have to be doing that work. Same thing with this one with the grip. If we have a really narrow grip, it's going to hit a little bit more of the arms. If we go too wide, it's not going to hit what we want. We want somewhere in the middle, right outside those shoulders. Control, slight pause at the bottom. Again, with the pulling motions, slight pauses at the bottom and the top, really helpful. That slight pause at the top. Again, you're contracting those muscles at the top. You're holding that. Spending some time at the top of those movements can be really, really helpful of building that strength and stability in order to do it faster later when we're in, a Metcon or something. All right, so we got our 4 movements. We have how to execute them. The next one is our reps and sets. What we're trying to do right now is to build that strength. And we're probably going to be hanging out somewhere in that 5 to 12 range. That's going to be our primary area of doing our work. Somewhere in that range is going to be very accessible. Sometimes, it depends on what you have. If you only have lighter weights, all right, let's go to that higher end and do some more. But I like mixing it up a little bit, hitting some of the higher ranges, getting some volume in there, and some of the lower ranges so we can get some more intensity, some more load on us. Getting a little bit of both can be very helpful. 3 sets of 10, just doing that all the time just isn't going to be enough. So getting into that 4 to 6 number of sets per movement is really, really great idea to really put on to get that volume, to get that stimulus in order to actually have a change. We want to get that 4 to 6 sets of somewhere between 5 and 12 reps. That's what we're looking for. That's the sweet zone. Now, then the final one is how long I should be doing this. Especially in the way we work out when we're doing CrossFit, you're doing functional movements, you're doing a different workout every day. One of the reasons that people come to this type of working out is because they get bored really easily and they like doing something different every day. And doing something different every day is very good for for longevity. It's good for long-term consistency. If I can keep working out every day or 5 days a week, if I can get to the gym 5 days a week for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years for the rest of my life, like I'm probably going to be doing pretty good in my life. I'm going to be kicking ass in my 90s. However, if we have a little bit more of a specific goal, some focus is really going to help us get there faster. We need to spend some focus time, and it's not just doing something different all the time. We need our body to do the same motion, the same movement in order to get that response in a shorter period of time. So we want to be doing these same 4 movements every week, maybe even twice a week, but we need to spread it out, right? It depends on your training. Like if you're just focusing on this, 2 times a week can be very good, but we need that rest time in between. What does your other training look like? Does it pair with it, right? But the main thing is doing this at least once a week and doing it for 4 to 12 weeks. You need that time. You need to be able, like, it takes a long time to build strength, and you need to put that work in, and it needs to be consistent. And it can't just be something random doing something different. We need that specific work. Now, in our regular group training or that classic CrossFit stuff, we still want that, and that's still good. We want to keep the body guessing. We want to keep it novel. We want to hit all those different types of movements. We want to make sure that we're squatting and pulling and jumping and doing all those things. This is something that we can do alongside this that won't beat us up, that'll still get us the strength that we want, so we can do all those other things. So I can do kipping pull-ups, so I can get a bar muscle up, so I can feel more confident when I'm going to the beach. It takes focus and attention and time and consistency in order to see those results. So if you're looking to build your upper body strength, this is where you start. This is how you start. This is where you can focus on. And you can take these concepts and throw them into your group class or into the group class when you're doing something. If you're doing strength work, focus on controlling that descent. Focus on pausing at the top and bottom. When you're doing a Metcon, if you like, hey, there's pull-ups and I'm going to do strict pull-ups today. I'm going to make sure I'm controlling the descent on all those, right? Use it in there. Now, that's not to say always do that. Hey, once a week, I'm going to make sure that I'm getting it. I'm going to do the butterfly chest to bar pull-ups, or I'm going to do the whatever movement. I'm going to make sure I'm doing that, fast, so I can still get that type of workout in. Not to say that you're always doing it, but when we have a very specific goal, we're going to focus on that for an extended period of time. So if you want to try and DIY this, that's how to get started. If you need some help with that, our individual design program, that's exactly what we do here. Our individual design, you get the workouts for the week up front, all the week, you get it specifically personalized for you and what your goals are, and you get accessories on top of that. If you know somebody who's looking to build some upper body strength, please share this with them if you think it'll help. If you think if you found this helpful, please comment, like, subscribe, be super helpful. Our whole goal is to have more happy, healthy people in the world, and that is what we are trying to do with this video. We want more happy, healthy people in the world. So if you think it might help somebody, please share it with them. Thank you so much. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to add a tool to your toolbox. Cheers.